Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool. And Harbor Freight wrapped up their spring sale and I was able to pick up a couple of things that I wanted. I got 1.5 out of 2, so that's not bad. One of them was this Icon hammer. This is a, well, it says 32 ounce dead blow ball peen hammer. I love these things. This is a snap-on version, similar, but we're going to get to that. The other thing I was after was one of these Icon lights. Both of these were on sale. This was 35% off. This thing was regularly $55, went down to $35 compared to $170 for this beast on Snap-on's truck. And then I wanted one of these Icon lights, but I wanted it in a kind of lime green. Those sold out. I'm just a peasant. I'm not an Inside Track member, so, you know, I kind of get the leftovers after everybody else gets to purchase their stuff, because it's limited to stock on hand, at least where I went. But anyway, this was available, and I was happy about that. This is a shorter handle than the Snap-on, and it's a heavier handle. It does have metal all the way through it, but I did notice a couple of things. I'll jump to this one. First of all, I was playing around, you know, my usual test with the magnet. Obviously there is a giant shaft of metal that runs through it, or as Harbor Freight says, there is a solid steel shank extending from the head through the handle. It makes this a lot tinier, a lot, when you tap on it, it's definitely not muted, kind of like Snap-on's is, with, you know, just solid polyurethane. I think there's a fiberglass shaft in theirs. But when the magnet got up on the front end and I pulled it off, I was noticing a bit of a difference between the Snap-on and the Icon in terms of the magnetic attraction. So here they are, and I'll pull them. I mean, interesting. So the Snap-on does seem to hold the magnet a little bit better. That might have something to do with the steel. I don't know. It depends how you hold it. I can sometimes get the Icon to pull it off, but it wasn't random. There's something going on. But anyway, where I'm headed with this is there also seems to be a what I'm calling a dead blow ball peen hammer, or even just dead blow hammer math. The part number on this, let's start there, is the HDBBP3200. I know that's a mouthful. I assume it stands for Hammer Dead Blow Ball Peen 32 ounce. The part number on this Snap-on here is the HBBD 40. What would that be? Hammer B. I don't know. BB, is that? I don't know. Anyway, and then Dead 40? I'm not sure. But anyway, similar product numbers. But let's look at the math. This is a 32 ounce hammer. This one, if we look close, is a 40 ounce hammer. So this one technically is 8 ounces more than this one. Well, let me get some measurements, because this is kind of surprising. And I did try to figure out a way to test these also. Not a very good one. I was going to bang on the anvil and do some stuff, but let's start here. What I've got is this thing set to ounces. I know people, you know, often want grams, but these are ounce hammers, so that's where I'm going to start. So first of all, the 32 ounce Icon hammer, total weight, 55 ounces. Okay, so that's quite a bit more. The Snap-on 40 ounce hammer, total weight, 46 ounces. So 9 ounces more. So this is supposed to be, or 9 ounces less. This is supposed to be a 40 ounce hammer, and it weighs 9 ounces less than the 32 ounce hammer. But let's look at the head weight. That's kind of interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have the handle level, and, you know, I'm holding it here and just let that set. So it's about 40 ounces. What's it supposed to be? 40 ounces. So just the head weight when I keep the handle level and I'm just holding it there. The 32 ounce here, line that up, get that level. So I've got about 43 ounces. So this one, this 32 ounce hammer is a total weight of 55 ounces and a head weight of 45 ounces. Where does that 32 come in? This one, as we remember, was pretty much dead on at 40, and the total weight on this guy, 46. This felt considerably lighter in the hand. When I picked up, actually I should say the other one felt heavier. When I picked this thing up, I thought, man, it just weighs a ton for a 2-pound hammer. This one felt a lot lighter, and it's supposed to be heavier, so there's that. But how about the dead blow? It was kind of hard to figure out a way to do it. This has a this one, my camera doesn't like this color, I don't think it's focusing, but anyway, this has a much louder shot. You can kind of get a mental image of what the shot size might be. So that sounds pretty sandy. The pitch sounds about the same. This sounds like maybe there's either more shot or a smaller shot capsule. But I tried pounding on my anvil, knocking stuff over. They were really close, really similar. If you look at these heads, they are, regardless of the size or the weight, let me do this one here, they are pretty much exact. I got out a couple of measurements, and they're so close all the way around, which leads me to a point. I think Harbor Freight is applying their good, better, best to the corporate boardroom strategy. And here's what I mean. This is a hammer I've been looking at for a while. Whenever I happen to be in a Harbor Freight, I thought, gosh, that's so close to a Snap-on. But there were things I just wasn't as keen about. It is made in Taiwan instead of America. However, this one felt different. It felt better. It felt more professional than the previous one that I had hung on to. It might not have been this size, but played around with. And what was weird is that the feel of this felt much better, but it's kind of the same. So what does that mean? I'm guessing that they are making very small but continuous improvements, almost like software as a service. It's whatever you get is the latest version, and this might be better than what it was last year. So with Harbor Freight, if you're thinking about something, the longer you wait, the better it might be. Whereas Snap-on, I think they make these huge production runs and then sit on them in the warehouse for maybe years until they run out, and then they put them back in line for a production run. Get rid of that thing, get this guy to focus. Come on. Anyway, and then, if they make any changes, then we see them. And what I noticed here, just the finish work was better. This felt a little more grippy. Some of these, they feel real hard plasticky. Just the overall feel of this thing all the way around just felt better. I mean, when you look close at the work, sometimes it's pretty shoddy around the edges because they have to finish those, maybe by hand, I don't know. But anyway, so what am I doing for a test? Well, something super simple. I'm just going to line these up like this. I'm going to pull them back, and I'm going to push them forward. As far as I can tell, it's pretty much the same. The reason the driving one knocks it out of the way, so I can do that on this side. If I try to do both, they seem to react about the same. So I don't know if there's much of a difference. I got this more for a garage hammer, just simply because I didn't want to leave a Snap-on out in the garage. I didn't know who was going to be using it, if it was going to get put away or get left out or get stolen. And that's originally my place for Icon tools. However, now I'm realizing that the big difference here, US made and Taiwanese made. The warranties are about the same. I do like the Snap-on handle a lot better. It is flexible. You can actually bend the handle. And if you take video of swinging it, you can see this thing bow back and forth. That apparently is desirable for those who are into swinging bigger hammers. But overall, for $35 versus $170, I'm not sure what you're getting, because it is a polyurethane molded handle with steel. And the steel seems to be maybe a little more iron in that, I don't know, but you know, for the magnet sticking to it. But overall, you know, the Icon hammers I think are just killing it. Hate to say that, you know, I'm in deep on snap-on hammers, but impressive. It is a little tinny though, and that's one of the issues. If you take a hammer, a smaller hammer, you know, that's the issue. That's in the design versus the snap-on. It's just a harsher hammer. But it's a dead blow. Anyway, if you come up with a test that you think would work other than, you know, attaching an accelerometer to it, which I could do. I've done that way back. I was doing more with digital sensors, but let me know. Maybe I'll try that, because I might end up getting the rest of the Icon hammers, especially if they're on sale, you know, 35% off when they're available. That's the problem. You know, peasants like me, maybe I need to join, but I just don't want to pay to buy something, you know, and join that Harbor Freight Club. Anyway, oh, I also picked up these, just mentioned that at the end. I've got 3 different colors, one for each of my toolboxes, my Mac toolbox, my Matco toolbox, and my Snap-on toolbox. One of my Snap-on toolboxes is green. I just love these magnets, use them for everything. Anyway, with that, Doc out.